Hey, what's up, America and YouTube? My name is Dooley Godot with the weather forecast. I'm going to have a long-range weather forecast for you for this upcoming week to give you kind of an overview of what things are going to be like across the country. Let you know if I see any big storms in the horizon, as the eastern half of the nation has had quite a brutal winter with one big storm after another. We've had a nor'easter a couple weeks ago. Then we had this big storm this last week here, the last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It took 3 or 4 days to move through, as it kind of had a little bit of a different trajectory. Instead of moving from that northwest to southeast and sweeping on through, it kind of slid north and slid out of the nation. It just was a very different kind of system altogether. It was kind of interesting to track and try to pin down. It was a very challenging system to forecast. It produced a lot of snow. Some places saw as much as 2 feet of snow. It was almost as much as an inch or so of freezing rain. There was sleet and probably a good ½ inch to an inch in some locations. We also had tornadoes down in Alabama. It produced several tornadoes down in those areas. It spread severe weather across the south, the Mississippi area, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle saw some severe weather. It was kind of a mixed bag of stuff going on, and we saw that cold get reinforced in the north across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. It really just pulled out all the stops as it pounded the East Coast, while the West Coast was basking in the glow of warmth and beautiful weather. But they are dealing with exceptional drought conditions, especially across Southern California and the desert Southwest. If you're in Las Vegas, Phoenix, LA, San Diego, you haven't seen any rain in almost a month and a half. You haven't had any appreciable precipitation, and we need that snow across in the Sierra Nevadas, which we have not seen for several weeks to almost a month. We haven't had any significant snow across the mountains, as there are several fires burning in some of those mountainous areas, as well as we have some grass fires burning across Texas and New Mexico, as well as into Colorado and Kansas, Oklahoma. There's some fires still burning to this day as a result of that dryness and those exceptional drought conditions across the western half of the U.S. Even Portland and Seattle are experiencing drought conditions and have not seen any reasonable precipitation in about 2 weeks. They haven't had anything significant. Maybe they've been brushed by the tail end of a few weather systems that have kind of been pushed into Canada, into British Columbia, by that persistent area of high pressure that has been across the western United States, that has been the driving feature of our weather for about the last month and a half. It's been a persistent staple on the West Coast. As you can see, our feed here, we are going to jump into our next map. We were looking at a live shot of New Orleans there, of Bourbon Street, but you know, the folks at the Earth Cam, they have ads to how they support it. I was wishing there was a way I could like pay for a subscription where I could see the cams ad free, but they don't have that option. You're stuck with the ads on that. But you can see cameras from everywhere. I don't care where it is. It's beautiful. I love it. So I'm going to use it. I did request permission to partner with them to use their cameras in my program. So they did approve that. So that's great. You know, there are certain guidelines you got to follow, but that's wonderful. So I'm not copywriting here. So we want to be fair to everybody involved in how I produce my weather forecast. So our first map that we're going to look at here is produced by WSV3, another wonderful tool that I use in my production here in weather forecasting. As we can see across the nation, there is not much taking place. Let's hop around a little bit and take a deeper look at some of the big things that may be taking place. And we're going to jump into the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes area. We are looking at Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and Lake Huron, as they have some light snow associated with some lake effect snow, as well as the influence of an Alberta clipper that's passing to the north in Canada. So it is going to bring some light snow to Marquette. Sault Ste. Marie could see some light snow. Duluth saw that light snow a little bit. As you can see, a little bit of snow is starting to develop off that lake. So we're going to have a little bit of lake effect snow in northern Wisconsin. If you're in Superior, Wisconsin, you could see some of that lake effect snow. And then we're going to hop down to the Jacksonville area. We are going to look at North Florida, as well as Gainesville are seeing some showers move through. I don't see any lightning. My lightning tracker is turned on, but I don't see much lightning strikes out there. So it looks like this is just general rain that's falling. But this is the tail end, the remnants was left of that big storm that pounded the Great Lakes and the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, as well as all the way down to Texas. This storm extended from Texas all the way to Canada, to the Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. This affected every state in between. This was a hopping mess. It kept meteorologists across the area busy. Boy, we earned our paychecks this week, didn't we? Isn't that right? But we did our job to keep everybody safe and keep everybody ahead of the storm. So if you didn't know about that storm was coming, then you live under a rock. But we screamed to the top of our lungs that storm was coming. But as you can see, these light showers across Florida, they're not going to be much. They're going to make you run your windshield wipers, make the little roads a little wet, but it's not going to be too bad. Nothing severe. I don't see any warnings or watches effect with that. That's pretty much the big thing that's going on across the nation as far as active weather is concerned. It's pretty quiet. We're going to take a look at this big map that the National Weather Service, courtesy of the National Weather Service. This is a look at what's going on. As you can see, that frontal boundary down in Florida here, this is associated with that weather system. There is an area of low pressure here that's off the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina. As you can see, this is out over the Atlantic now, and that frontal boundary across Florida, that's responsible for those showers that you saw a little bit ago. So those showers will continue and will eventually spread into central and south Florida. And then we have a little bit of snow across northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan from that Alberta clipper that's moving through, as well as some lake effect snow. So there is a founder of warm front associated, and there is a trough of low pressure associated with the Alberta clipper that's going to move east across the northern plains and across the Great Lakes and across southern Canada. That's a look at that map and what's going on with that as far as that is concerned. Our global forecast system, the GFS model, and the National Weather Service is responsible for producing this model. So thank you to those folks for providing this data for us to use in our weather forecast. And this is what we're currently seeing across the nation right now. And this is that Alberta clipper that's affecting the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes and southern Canada. As you can see, that light snow that's currently moving across these areas right now. But we're going to jump ahead, and I'm only going to look at the big events of significance, and then we have a little area of low pressure that's going to develop what looks like to be on the 8th. This area of low pressure here is going to form there, and we could see a little bit of precipitation right here along the mid-Atlantic states. So we could see a little rain in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. You could see a little rain in Norfolk, Virginia, maybe Charlotte, North Carolina. Could pick up a few showers from that. Nothing severe. I don't see any snow from that little bit of activity. So let's move right on along as that we go. It starts to spread some showers across Central and South Florida for your 9th and the 10th is going to be a big thing there. Maybe another Alberta clipper across the Great Lakes area. Again, is going to bring some more precipitation to some light snow across the Ohio Valley into western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, as well as Michigan. Might pick up a little bit of snow from this pretty potent Alberta clipper that's going to move through on the 10th. This is what the GFS is saying is going to be the situation on the 10th. So let's clear that on off and move right on along. And then we have another Alberta clipper that's going to come into the picture. And this one is going to show up here, right here. This is for the 12th. This is going to be for next Saturday. So your next Saturday, this is what we're going to see. Some light snow could take place across the Twin Cities. Twin Cities might see some snow on the 12th. A little bit of light snow from an Alberta clipper. This is that fluffy, powdery snow that has a very low moisture content, as these storms are pretty moisture starved. They don't have a big tropical fetch. Their reach isn't that great. So it's going to bring a little bit of snow again to Michigan, predominantly northern Wisconsin, the northern half of Minnesota, up to Duluth. Might see some snow out of that. So let's clear that on off. Let's move on ahead. We don't want to spend too much time on this, as this is going to be a fairly benign period with the typical Alberta clippers and maybe some mid-Atlantic storm system that's going to develop. We're going to have this guy here show up about this guy here is going to show up about on the 14th. This is for your Valentine's Day, according to the GFS. Let me make sure I am on the GFS. Yep, I am on the GFS. I've made mistakes where I thought I was looking at the GFS or thought I was looking at the Euro, but I was actually still looking at the GFS, but I didn't see it, didn't click over. But anyway, moving right along, this little guy here is going to develop, and we may have some thunderstorms on the Gulf Coast, maybe in Mississippi and Alabama. Maybe New Orleans might be on the tip of that guy on the 14th for your Valentine's Day. Let's clear that on off and move right on ahead here. And we got another Alberta clipper. Another Alberta clipper. There is... Wait a minute, hang on a second. That's not an Alberta clipper. That is a Colorado low. We're going to get ourselves a nice Colorado low developing right here. There it is. It's going to come right out of Colorado. Bam. Colorado low right here. And this is the route it's going to take. As we can see, let's progress on out here. I won't be able to progress with the writing on the screen. It's so stupid. One of the drawbacks of this app here. But anyway, this storm is going to go like this. It is going to head on across and ride through Minnesota, right? It's going to eventually end up in southeast Minnesota. Well, it's going to bring rain into Minnesota, to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to bring rain all the way into the upper Midwest. And there it is. There's that rain going to move them. I think the Twin Cities actually could get more rain out of this and snow. And even maybe a little bit of mixed precipitation. We might see some a little bit of freezing rain in Minnesota. If we could see like right in here, right there, might be a little bit of freezing rain in the Twin Cities. So let's move on ahead. Let's move on out of there. And there's that storm is going to move into southern Canada. And then we're going to get another Colorado low that's going to ride up. This one is going to affect mostly, this one. This one is going to be for the 20th. So the 20th, we'll have another weather system that's going to spread some precipitation. We'll have rain, maybe some thunderstorms across the southeast in North Carolina, Tennessee. We can see that in Kentucky as well. Some of those thunderstorms and heavy rain, but it's going to spread snow across Iowa and southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. You can see that rain, some snow. There's could be some winter storm criteria snow for this region. So let's keep an eye out for that. Let's turn this other, I may be having a microphone echo problem here. All right, turn that other mic off. So that's what that looks like there for that. Let's clear that off. Let's move right on along here. We don't want to be on too long on this video. I just recorded a 30-minute video with no sound. So I'm re-recording it. Hopefully I'm recording it properly this time. I see my little sound bar going across, so I am being picked up on the mic. Excellent. How could I be so? So, you know, this is when you're brand new. I'm learning how to do this. I'm a brand new YouTuber. I've never done this kind of stuff before. So here we are. Here I am trying to learn and trying to bring you guys good content. I hope that you are enjoying the video. And if you are enjoying the video and you're still watching this video, make sure you like, and I would appreciate it if you subscribe, because I'm trying to develop and grow the channel, and I want to have you guys be with me as I learn and grow and get better at this and bring you good content that you enjoy and that you benefit from and you can learn a lot. And I help you know what's going to happen in the weather and be your trusted weatherman, okay? So that is what the GFS has, and we took a look at that. Now let's jump into the European model and the Euro. Let's look at our European model. Let's make sure it's going over to that. Our Euro, okay. And let's change it on my other screen here. All right, there is. Let's make sure I'm on the European. Yep, I am. I'm on the European. So let's go back to the beginning. Okay, in the beginning. But anyway, we won't go there. So this is where we are at right now. This is the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast model. And this is that same Alberta Clipper that I showed you on the global forecast system, on the GFS model. That's that right there. That's that light snow that you saw on the first map that's affecting Marquette, Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan, northern Wisconsin and northern Minnesota, Duluth. You see that light snow. That's where it is right there. So let's get that off the screen. And let's move on ahead to the next thing of significance here. And we have the Alberta Clipper moving on out. There it is. And I have a map that's getting hung up and not progressing forward like it should. Okay, there is our next Alberta Clipper. This next Alberta Clipper that's going to come through is going to affect northern Minnesota and Wisconsin and North Dakota. This is going to be what the European depict on the 11th. As you can see, pretty potent low, pretty tightly. Now the GFS did not show this one this deep. As you can see, it is a 986 millibar low. So this is a powerful one. This is a strong Alberta Clipper. Some of them can be strong. That don't necessarily mean that they're weak. They're just moisture starved. But it's going to do its best to squeeze out a little bit of dry snow for us, so that powdery snow. But this can actually get quite heavy, and I wouldn't be so. And this is for the 11th, so it's not too far out that it is like that you're like, all right, this is too far out. The 11th is about 5-6 days from now, so the European is pretty good at this range. There's going to be an Alberta Clipper on this day. This system is going to happen. Whether or not it's this strong remains to be seen. But this is a potent Alberta Clipper. And tight isobars, there's a lot of wind. So it's definitely going to have wind chill issues. So expect wind chill headlines from the National Weather Service. Advisory, definitely advisory, possibly warning criteria. with this strong wind and blowing snow, maybe blizzard conditions in North Dakota and northwest Minnesota. Certainly possible to have blizzard conditions. Blowing snow, a lot of that could be quite heavy. You can see how darker this darker blue indicates heavier snow. So let's move that one on out. Kind of see what we're gonna have working with this little system here. Let's move it on out. There's this Alberta Clipper as it moves on across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes area. Across southern Canada, it's gonna move across Ontario and Quebec, and off New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. There it is. And then here is the next item. The next item up for bid on The Price is Right is this guy right here across the South and the Mid-Atlantic. This guy is going to be packing his area of low pressure. It has a cold front here. As you can see, it's going to spread snow across the Ohio Valley, again into the mid-Mississippi Valley. There's the state of Mississippi here. Tennessee, if you're in Memphis, if you are in southern Indiana, Indianapolis, if you are in Dayton, Ohio, if you're in Charleston, West Virginia as well, you can see some snow from this. A little bit intense snow right here in this part of Mississippi and Memphis, Tennessee, could experience a bit of snow. And there is a cold front here extending out over the Gulf. That's going to be your catalyst for thunderstorms. It could possibly bring some severe weather again. And this is what we're looking at for your 13th. This is next Sunday. So this is the day before Valentine's Day. And this is where things are looking like for your Valentine's Day. Let's see what we're looking at for the 14th. For the 14th, we have a potent weather system that is going to be moving into the there we go. It's a hot mess. According to the European model, we got ourselves a hot mess going here on the East Coast. All right, on this system, you see a lot of rain. We see a lot of snow across Pennsylvania, upstate New York, extending into Maine, across Vermont, New Hampshire. Boston could be right on the border of the rain snow line, so you could get a mixed precipitation of rain and snow. It'll probably rain and change over to snow. We're seeing rain down in a little bit of freezing rain right here in central New Jersey and western Pennsylvania. We do see a slither of mixed precipitation right in here. Could make a little bit of a mess in this region right here. So we will keep an eye out and monitor that potential. So that is basically what the European Center for Medium Range Forecasting model is saying for that period. So that guy is going to move on out of here, and it's going to head on out by the 15th. So that is what that model is saying. Let's move on. Let's take a look at what we got. This is our 500 millibars geospatial model is concerned. This is the GEFS modeling. This is our global ensemble. So this is a mixture. This is a ensemble of a grouping of models averaged together, and this is what it shows. And we are gonna move this guy, and we can see that prevailing pattern. You see that pretty much that persistent trough, that persistent troughing across the west, and that ridging. That I'm saying this all wrong. That ridging out west. You see that predominant ridging out west with that trough in the east. Predominantly, it does flatten out from time to time, and you see little small ridges of high pressure forming in the east and a small amount of ridging taking place in the west, but it's very brief. But that predominant pattern remains in place and will remain in place through February on into March. So I think if you're in the upper Midwest or the Great Lakes, it's going to be a long time before you truly see spring temperatures. We may be able to see consistent low 30s in the upper Midwest, in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and we get into March, but I'm not seeing the potential for 40s and 50s. No, I don't see any significant warms up. I look forward to March because we get teased with those first warm-ups, 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. I've seen 80s in March, but I don't think that's going to happen this March with this strong La Nina. It's a moderate La Nina, and the long-range La Nina forecast does call for La Nina to dissipate later in the spring. So we will go to ENSO neutral conditions. But we're going to look at the NAO and the PNA later. That's going to show us those teleconnections. But that is what this this model is just confirming more of the same, really. It does flatten out. We get into a nice zonal pattern when we get into the 21st. So later in the month of February, a nice zonal pattern will allow things to warm up. Maybe we could see temperatures in the 30s across the upper Midwest, maybe some 40s as we get a little bit of warmer air rising into the Dakotas and maybe eastern Montana, maybe Iowa, maybe Illinois and stuff. You might warm up to the 40s maybe, but I don't see too much happening for Minnesota, with the exception of that Colorado low about mid-month of February. In February is when we start to see those kick off, and we also see them through the month of March. They're often the catalyst for the famous March snowstorms that Minnesotans deal with and that we are known for. If you come up here, people will often talk about, hey, it snows in March, the March snowstorms. And then we'll see those are the catalysts for those Colorado lows, because we tend to get a trough in the west with a ridge in the east, and it usually cause those systems to develop. So that's a look at what our geospatial model looks like right now. We are going to jump into that NAO. This is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and this is that teleconnection. So basically what the teleconnections are is this is how things in one place that occur affects things in another place. They connect together. How we see a certain pattern in the currents in the ocean or temperatures of the water affect the weather someplace else. That's what that essentially means. Those teleconnections is how it connects to weather conditions or observed conditions in a different place. So we look at the conditions in the Atlantic, the North Atlantic, and we look at conditions in the Northern Pacific for our weather pattern. So we look for the PNA and we look at the NAO a lot, which is the North Atlantic Oscillation, which is the variances in the currents, like the Gulf Stream current. And then you have the current, the Japanese American current in the Pacific. So those currents drive the weather condition a lot. So as you can see, the forecast from the European model forecast for the NAO, this is through February 19th. As you can see, it's mostly positive. It's trending positive predominantly, and this is the ensemble for that. So it's predominantly positive. So this means that we're not going to have any nor'easters. There's not going to be any major East Coast storms. So with that being positive, the East Coast could get a good break. Now, there is this right here, where it's a little bit lower, is indicative of that, is because we're going to have that mid-Atlantic storm across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. We're going to have that Colorado low affect those regions. It's going to ride up through Minnesota, southeastern Minnesota, and ride into Canada. It's going to blast through Ontario, Canada. So it's going to hit Toronto and Montreal into Quebec and go on off into New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. So, or Newfoundland. You'll see it hit those areas. So this is what this is indicative of. We want to see a positive NAO because that means that the East Coast is not going to get blasted. So you guys can actually get a break for once. But as you can see, the PNA is mostly negative. The PNA has gone negative, so that means that that ridge out west is going to be strong. That ridge is fierce. So this means that it's going to be continued dry in the Pacific Northwest. You're not going to get any rain pretty much in the Pacific Northwest for a while. This means that those storms, that means that big ridge of high pressure is strong out there. And it's going to drive those storms into British Columbia, into the middle sections, the northern section, the Northwest Territories. So it's going to drive those storms up near the Alaska, the southern tip of Juneau, and in Canada where Prince Rupert, Canada is. So it's going to be those areas in the British Columbia, in the mountains there. Gonna see those storms pound those regions when you see this negative PNA. So that's what that means. This means if this was positive, then you'll see the Pacific storms hit Oregon and Washington, and they can get the precipitation that they need. But as long as this stays negative, this is going to be negative through at least the 17th. We'll wait to see what the new model forecast is for the 19th and beyond. But as of right now, no big storms for the Pacific Northwest. I'm sorry to say that, but there's desperate need for precipitation in those areas because of the extreme drought conditions. Well, they're having bad drought. It's Southern California and the Southwest that are in extreme drought conditions right now. This is a look at the snowfall predictions for the next. Let's take this on out to. This is the NOM. This is the North American model. This is a 3-kilometer NOM. This is the forecast model of predictions for through the 8th. This is through the 8th. So this is through Tuesday. So through Tuesday, as you can see, we're going to have that progression of several Alberta clippers across these regions here, across the upper Midwest. As you can see, we could pick up at least 4 inches of snow in Duluth, Minnesota between now and the 8th. As you can see, northern Wisconsin could pick up as much as 5-6 inches of snow. And that's pretty much the snow forecast, expected snowfall for those regions. And so you can see a pretty large swath of 1 to maybe as much as 6 inches, maybe a 7-inch. I'm gonna scan to see if I can find at least a 7-inch. So far, everything is at least 6, nothing more than 6 inches. So in the next week or the next few days, you'll pick up about 4. You could pick up as much as 6 inches of snow in some locations. So our final map that we're going to look at is the temperature forecast. This is the temperature projections that the National Weather Service thinks that we are going to experience over the next several days. So this is where our temperatures were for today. So today across the upper Midwest, we saw high temperatures in the mid-20s. We're going to see those mid-20s. We saw those mid-20s pretty much area-wide into the Northeast, all the way to Maine, where maybe some regions did fall off into those upper teens. And we're going to see those 40s and 50s and stuff across the Southeast. The high plains here did warm into the mid-50s, and across parts of Nebraska and South Dakota, they did see a little bit of warmer weather in those regions. But if we look at the Southwest, we're seeing 70s, 80s, maybe some 90s in Southern California. There is warm enough for really warm temperatures. And then across Florida, again, we see those upper 70s and 80s. So let's take a look at what some of those overnight lows will look like tonight. This is what overnight lows will look like tonight. Across the upper Midwest, we're seeing those teens for overnight lows. So it's actually quite mild for this time of the year. for this period right now. It's actually quite nice. We can't really complain about this for overnight low temperatures. These are high temperatures for tomorrow. Again, we see 20 for Minneapolis again. It's a little bit, it starts to warm up across the east as we can see those 30s start to move into upstate New York. Pennsylvania, see the eastern half of Ohio, we start to see 30s move in and some 40s. You got those 20s and continuing for northern Illinois, Indiana, and then northwestern Ohio. Michigan, we see those 20s. And then for the rest of the nation, as far as the deep south is concerned, we see an advertisement moving across our weather forecast. I didn't sign in. My account, let me sign in real quick. My account, I don't have to look at ads, and apparently I'm not signed in. So let me log in real quick. And let's go back to my proper map here as I logged in, and we're gonna go to our NAM 3/4 and go back. Let's go back. Come on, bring it back. All right, so we're back on our let's go back to our temperature. Our forecast. We want this map. This is the map. Okay, there we go. Now we're back on the right map. We're back where we should be. Okay, so now that I signed in, there's no ads. No more ads, all right? So this is what our forecast is looking like. Shout out to Pivotal Weather who produced this map. So let's drink about. All right, there we go. So now we have the this is what we're seeing for Monday, for the 7th. We really drop off, and this is what our overnight lows look like. We want to see what our high temperatures. This is what our high temperature is going to look like for Monday. We're going to see those 20s again for the upper Midwest, and we're going to see those 40s and 50s across much of the central part of the nation in the southeast. The deep south, southeast Florida, we're going to see those 70s, and we'll see 80s move in. We'll see those 70s, maybe an 80 or two. Definitely 80s in the southwest. Really, really warm out in California. We were seeing those 60s, 70s, and 80s. And really nice weather out there. Even though it's drought conditions, it's going to continue with much of the same for your Tuesday. And as we look at Wednesday, again, much of the same. A little bit of a warm up in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. We start to see 30s and 40s as we get in between those Alberta Clippers. The next Alberta Clippers getting ready to head on in. So this is what we are seeing as far as high temperatures concerned for February. This is our maximum temperatures on the 9th, February the 9th. As we can see, things kind of pull back a little bit across. No, we still got those 30s. It looks like 32 in Minneapolis, 30 in Rochester. So it warms up a little bit across the deep south. Again, that warm weather continues across the southwest as we can see those 80s and 90s from Arizona to Southern California. And let's take a look at the next day. This is what we look like on the 10th, on Thursday. Again, nice weather pretty much in the area nationwide. Everybody's above normal. We're above normal in the upper Midwest, above normal in the southeast. Southwest is definitely above normal. And then let's take a look at the last day. This is what we have going on for Friday. This is for your Friday as far as temperatures. Those above normal temperatures pretty much nationwide, even across the upper Midwest. Maybe a little bit more seasonal up here across the Great Lakes and in the northern areas in the Northland here in Minnesota. We could see temperatures warm back into the 20s. It's not really extreme. There's no real extremes in the weather. Not extreme cold. A lot of extreme warmth. I think it's pretty warm across. If you look into Texas, look down there in Texas, you see those temperatures approaching 80 degrees, especially around Houston. You see those 80s in Florida, and you see those 80s in Arizona and Southern California. It's really nice weather, but they desperately need precipitation out west. Desperately. Very desperately. I'm going to take a look at one other thing here. Let's take a look at, let me find the drought monitor here. Let's pull that up here. Let's take a look at what the drought is. This is what the drought conditions are across America. As you can see, according to this, most of America is in drought conditions, with the exception of Florida, parts of the Ohio Valley. Maybe we might have upstate New York, western Pennsylvania, and the deep south. Maybe parts of Alabama and Georgia, South Carolina. You see, it's either slightly below normal. Let's pull it up so that you can see what the the legend, what the key is right here. As you can see, some areas in this region here, you can see that in this region here, it's pretty much no drought. They've had their average precipitation is actually above average precipitation in these regions through here. But then if we take a look at Texas. Look at the central part of Texas. See, this is Odessa, Lubbock, Texas, Amarillo. These areas tend to be drier. Oklahoma, you see western Oklahoma, we got severe drought, exceptional drought conditions, exceptional drought here in Nebraska, and not Nebraska, but Montana. As you can see, look at this, Oregon, exceptional drought conditions in Oregon. In Northern California, Nevada, you see, so most of the West is in drought conditions. Even in Minnesota, you can see here in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, it's drought. I mean, we had a very dry summer last year. We didn't get our summer thunderstorm season was a bust. It was terrible. It was boring. It was not the place we wanted to storm chase. It was lame. It was really bad. And this is La Nina for you. Maybe we can get into neutral, or maybe a El Nino. Maybe we can start to get some precipitation out west. Maybe next winter will be an El Nino. We'll have to see. I'll have to look into what the long range INSO conditions will look like and see if we can come up with an idea of when we can see an El Nino. Excuse me. But we really need an El Nino to develop to get precipitation and maybe ease some of these exceptional drought conditions out west. So that is a look at our black screen here. No, that was a look at the drought. Let me make our New Orleans video pop back up here. There we go. There it is. So anyway, that's a look at the long range prediction. Oh, there's another ad. All right. Who want to go to Disneyland? All right, we get a Disneyland commercial. Okay, cool, right on. But anyway, so that is a look at the long range weather forecast. I really wish I could watch this I could run this without ads. I really hate ads in my stuff. I have so many subscriptions all across the board. I got like 20 or 30 subscriptions because I hate ads. I really hate ads. Anyway, welcome back to New Orleans. This is a look at Bourbon Street in New Orleans. But anyway, that is a look at the nation's weather and what we have coming up. So we do have a weather system that we're going to deal with yes, I'm still watching. All right. We have a weather system that we're going to deal with in the upper Midwest about the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So it's going to bring some rain, maybe some snow across. It might be more rain than snow, but we'll have to keep an eye on it because it can certainly be a situation where we have all snow. It's highly unlikely. That's not been the trend, so it's unlikely. When the model spits out things that's unlikely, always go with the trend. What has the weather been lately? What has it been doing? If you suddenly see a drastic change without a significant pattern change overall, there was enough of a pattern change to bring up a Colorado storm, but is it enough that we're going to see rain all the way into the Twin Cities? But we'll see. But anyway, that is a look at the nation's weather right now. My name is Dooley Godot. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like the channel and subscribe to the channel. I really need your help with subscriptions. I'm going to keep bringing you good content. I'm going to continue to improve and get better at this and get better at editing. And I plan on producing a video twice a week. We're going to have a weekend video every Saturday or Sunday. And then I may put in a smaller video in the middle of the week to update how things have gone with my big overall forecast. We're going to update, look at how is it evolving. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Have a good weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.